Let me ask you about the situation at hand, because it still feels as though there's enormous uncertainty at this stage. How long is it going to take to have more answers?
Well, I think we're already hearing sufficient to know that this virus is substantially more transmissible than the Delta variant. We don't know yet exactly why, whether it's intrinsically more transmissible or more likely that it's less controlled by prior immunity, whether by natural infection or by vaccine. And I think the indications of that came out from the World Health Organization yesterday, when they said that there was a high rate of reinfections with this new virus, suggesting that it does escape immunity. But that doesn't mean to say it's a complete escape. With the other coronaviruses, you do see this sort of thing happening pretty regularly, and it is very rarely a complete escape. And particularly, it's rarely that you would get a complete escape to severe disease. So I think it's likely that this this variant, will be less controlled by vaccine, but that vaccines will still provide valuable control, and particularly in reducing the risk of severe disease, especially, I think, if you've had the booster vaccine.
Professor, how do we think about life in the UK then? Because we ripped off the mask here. Activity looks like it used to. You go into a restaurant, nobody's wearing a mask anymore. The windows are often closed in some of these venues. What happens from here if there's no such thing really as herd immunity with this variant?
Well, I mean, we were never ever going to have herd immunity with coronaviruses. That just doesn't happen. So it's not surprising. At some point, we will have to live with this virus. It will continue to circulate for decades to come, but not cause the severe disease that we've seen in recent months. And this is not the first time that we've had a big coronavirus pandemic. The last one was actually over 100 years ago now, but it is ultimately becomes just another cause of the common cold. And the issue is, how do we get there with the minimum suffering and the minimum harm? And but ultimately, we just have to live with these new variants that will come along in over the coming years. But unfortunately, we're not quite at that point where we can be so blasé, I'm afraid.